Welcome to Season 2 of Red Sox Digest, the only show where pain, sarcasm, and false hope collide nightly, like a Masataka Yoshida ground out to second. We break down every loss, every meltdown, and the occasional win, with sarcasm, facts, and no front office spin. Subscribe today at RedSoxDigest.com, or keep wondering how a wildcard team spent an entire offseason avoiding power hitters. And now, here's the crew at Red Sox Digest.
Good evening, sports fans, and welcome to another edition of Red Sox Digest. I am your host tonight, Jim Delfino. And folks, if you thought last night was stressful, tonight was like watching me try to assemble IKEA furniture after 3 beers. Confident at first, completely lost by the end, and somehow blaming everyone else in the room, which honestly is exactly what happened to the Red Sox. Now, before we get into this absolute circus, let's talk about me for a second, because if there's anyone who understands bad decision-making under pressure, it's yours truly. I mean, I manage my blood pressure better than this team manages a strike zone, and I've had more panic attacks than Trevor Story has strikeouts this series, which, by the way, is impressive. Joining me tonight is Nick Face. Nick, a man who argues with strangers on the internet like CB Bucknor argues with reality. This guy watches one pitch and immediately goes to Twitter like he's filing an official complaint with Major League Baseball. If the Red Sox had Nick's energy at the plate, we'd be scoring 15 runs a night or get ejected by the 3rd inning. And joining us as well is John Martinello. John, who watches baseball like he's solving a crime scene. Every pitch is interesting. Every at-bat is something to monitor. Meanwhile, the house is on fire, and he's standing there like, let's not overreact. Let's get into it. Your Boston Red Sox lose this absolute marathon to the Cincinnati Reds 6-5 in 11 innings in a game that had everything: home runs, blown opportunities, extra innings, and, of course, CB Bucknor putting on a performance for the ages. Let's start early. Sox came out flat. Shocking, I know. Reds jump on the board in the first, tack on another, and suddenly it's 3-0 by the 2nd inning. And you're sitting there thinking, oh, great, here we go again. Trevor Story tries to wake everyone up with a home run in the 3rd. Nice moment, little spark, then immediately goes back to striking out like it's part of his daily routine. Then Sal Stewart, who, by the way, I had to Google mid-game, goes yard, because of course he does. Why wouldn't random Reds players turn into Babe Ruth against us? But give the Sox some credit. They actually fought back. Roman Anthony with an RBI on a wild pitch scores another, and suddenly it's 4-3. Then Wilyer Abreu ties it late with a clutch homer in the 9th inning. And for a brief, beautiful delusional moment, you thought they might actually steal this game. Yeah, that lasted about as long as a CB Bucknor consistent strike zone, which is to say it didn't. Because once we hit extra innings, this turned into a clinic on how not to win a baseball game. Runners on, nothing happened. Situational hitting, gone. Approach, non-existent. And then the 11th inning, the inevitable. Base hit, game over. Reds win 6-5. Now, let's talk about the real star tonight, CB Bucknor. Oh my God, I've seen better strike zones at a Little League game where the ump is also the kid's uncle and just wants to get home for dinner. This guy was calling strikes like he was spinning a roulette wheel. One pitch is a strike, next pitch in the same location is a ball. Players are confused, pitchers are losing their minds, and Alex Cora gets tossed, which honestly might have been the most accurate call Bucknor made all night. You had ABS challenges, flipping calls left and right, which basically confirmed what we all know. This guy had no idea what the hell he's doing. This game sums it up in the series so far. Pitching, decent, not great. Offense shows up late like it forgot game started in the 4th inning. Fundamentals, optional apparently, and umpiring borderline performance art. You had many chances to win this game, multiple chances, and you didn't cash in. And that's the difference between a good team and wherever the hell this was. But now it's time for us to face the facts.
It's time for Face the Facts. where excuses get laughed out of the room, your feelings are irrelevant, and your opinion probably doesn't matter. No spin, no cope, just the facts. And now, your esteemed host, Nick Face.
Today's word, investigation. But before we get to this word, I just want to let the general public and you guys know, I just let out a nice CB Bucknor before we broadcasted, so I'm all good to go for the next hour. Just wanted to let you know. TMI, sorry. Investigation. How can you, if you're Major League Baseball, sit there and do nothing from that probably the worst umpired game I have seen professionally in my life from CB Bucknor? Yes, he definitely had a red shirt on. Probably should investigate if he's on the payroll for the Cincinnati Reds. That's another thing I want to look into. But let's dive back into this. In a way, I'm glad that we have this new ABS system because it holds umpires accountable. And today, after watching what we saw, the accountability for CB Bucknor is out the window. You have to force a retirement. You have to come up with some sort of a penalty or whatnot after what we just sat there and watched today. To make the same mistakes over and over and over again when you're calling a game and impacting a game that much can't happen. I guess we know why this ABS system is now fully launched here in Major League Baseball. Because I'm curious, after this season goes on, how many umpires are actually going to be continue to be employed by Major League Baseball. Because we know Angel Hernandez is gone. The other one I want to take a look at is Ron Culpa. He's another one that I can't stand. And it's a good thing Countryman Joe West is not around for this anymore, too, because we'd want to be shipping him out to sea probably after a performance with this ABS system. It does suck, though, guys, that we have to sit here and talk about an umpire being the biggest talking point of the game. It shouldn't happen. We should be talking about the Red Sox, or we should be talking about the Reds. But the central story here is a friggin' umpire. It's unacceptable. And if Major League Baseball doesn't come out with like a press release or something regarding what we just sat here and watched, shame on you, Major League Baseball. It's time to get serious here if you're going to get serious on the ABS and hold your damn umpires accountable. Because this was just disgusting today. Let's talk about the game now, okay? Before the game even started, I already was infuriated because we got a report that Alex Cora is going to be playing Yoshida the next 3 out of the 5 games, one of which for Houston will likely be in left field. So I'm already throwing my arms up. I'm already throwing my remotes around. I'm stomping around. I'm bullshit. Because now with Yoshida, who pitched hit today and walked, that was his big contribution today to his game, will be in this lineup. Now, Jim and John, from what we saw in the past 2 games, can you please raise your hand if you're sitting Roman Anthony? Okay, that's what I thought. Can you please raise your hand if you're going to sit Ceddanne Rafaela? Okay, good. Can you please raise your hand if you're going to sit Wilyer Abreu? Okay. Can you please raise your hand if you're going to sit Jarren Duran? Roster mismanagement 101. It is ridiculous that we have this continued problem with this team. And it is day 2 into 162. And here I am, yelling, yakking, and facing the facts. Because, folks, that's what it is. This team is who it is. pitching wise, we're going to get by with what we've got. I think we have a really good rotation. The bullpen, I thought they managed it okay today. We knew that we were going to get some sort of a Greg Weissert, Ryan Watson, who made his debut today. We knew we were going to get that going into there. You had Slayton and you also had Whitlock. You really can't blame Justin Slayton for today's loss, but if you want to get upset with that, go ahead. It's the stupid extra inning rule. You got a guy on second. That's just what happens. So we'll be curious to see what they do tomorrow because you use pretty much everybody outside of Chapman. So that will be interesting to see. But the biggest thing to look at here is this game showed you that this offense is going to be a thorn in our side this season. You'll have flashes. You'll have 1 for 5s, 1 for 6s from Trevor Story. Get ready for 3 strikeouts like we've told you. And you're going to have to claw and scrape by somehow to get a win. It felt so much, guys, like 2025 yet again. I actually was going into the 9th saying, oh, here we go again. Another 1-run loss. Here we go. Here we go. Deja vu. And yet you lose in extras 6-5. I've talked too much in my little face to facts thing. We'll talk more together. I want to throw it over to John next. But that's where I stand on today's game. Truly infuriating.
Nick's Face the Facts is sponsored by Bucknor's Blindfold Emporium, because if you're going to guess, you might as well fully commit. Whether you're calling a 3-2 pitch 6 inches off the plate or ringing up a hitter who already started walking to first, Bucknor's got you covered. Each blindfold comes preloaded with 0 accountability and 100% confidence. Use promo code WHATZONE for a free ejection with purchase. And now it's time for the Martinello Minute.
And now the part they don't want said out loud. No spreadsheets or corporate spin, just the truth, raw and impatient. This is the Martinello Minute.
So, 3rd straight year, Red Sox start the season 1-1. Before I really get into this, I want to apologize ahead of time for the language I'm about to use. But 15 strikeouts in one game, that's just pure situational baseball, piss poor performance, whatever. It happens. It's going to happen. It's going to keep on happening. This is the Red Sox. It's Peter Fozzie. We know that that's going to happen. CJ Bucknor, I want to blame you for the loss. I will blame you for the loss. You fucking stink. I cannot wait to see the umpire scorecard tomorrow morning, and I'll get back to him shortly. I honestly forgot that Sonny Gray started this game. He didn't find his command until the 4th inning, and at that point, he was already up around 80 pitches. They had to take him out. Not to mention his bonehead move in the 1st inning when he tried to tag Matt McLain out by himself. He missed him. Just give the ball to the catcher. Not tough. You're a pitcher. Get rid of it. You're not important in a play. And then did he fucking throw the ball at Matt McLain? Like, what the fuck was that? Roman Anthony, 2 challenges. Roman Anthony, 2 challenges and 1 at bat. Got the second one wrong. And at that point, Red Sox are out of challenges in the 3rd inning. It's a learning lesson with ABS. He addressed it after the game. He took full responsibility. He called it a learning lesson himself. But better to make that mistake now than 7 months from now when they're hopefully in the playoffs. Trevor Story hit his first home run of the year. He makes up for the error that led to a run. I think that was in the 3rd inning or maybe in the 2nd. It's been a long day. Caleb Durbin, horrible day. 0 for 5, 1 strikeout, left 2 guys in scoring position. Take that number 5 off the back of your jersey. You don't deserve it. You have no approach. You have no intent on your swings. It's been about as bad of a first impression as somebody can give. And then Ryan Watson made his MLB debut today. He was a Rule 5 pick and then immediately traded to Boston. He gave the Sox a chance today. Recorded 7 outs that were much needed in the middle of this game. He walked 3 guys. He had 1 strikeout, but he had 7 whiffs and 4 of them on a sinker. He looked good. And then back to CJ Bucknor. Poor kid thinks he struck out Geno Suarez 2 times. Bucknor doesn't know what the fuck a strike zone is, misses 2 easy ball calls. But credit to Ryan Watson, incredible composure to stay locked in, and he gets out of the inning with the bases loaded. Trevor Story later in the game, he gets boned by who but WB Mason. No, my bad. It's fucking CB fucking Bucknor again. Check swing, 0% chance. 0% chance that he went, but Bucknor decides that he'll take this into his own hands. Doesn't check with the first base umpire. And in case I didn't say it, fuck you, CB Bucknor. Cora comes out to Story's defense, and he gets tossed. Good for Cora, and good for getting Story out of the way there. William Abreu in the 9th inning. You're the man. He ties the game. And then extra innings. This is where I really started getting fired up today. Marcelo Meyer and Connor Wong in the 10th inning strike out back-to-back. Baseball now gives you a runner in scoring position to start an inning. You have to get a fucking job done. It's not that difficult. Meyer, pull the ball. You're a lefty. Move the runner to third base. Connor Wong, honestly, I don't even want to get mad at you because what else do you ever do besides strike out?
Squats well.
Yeah, I guess. CJ Bucknor, again, 6 ABS challenges overturned on him. If teams had a limited challengers, that number probably would have been near 50 today. It's unfucking acceptable. CB, you'd be a dog shit middle school umpire with this performance today. Again, can't wait for the scorecard to come out tomorrow. Hopefully it comes out during this show tonight because that was the worst performance I've ever seen in my life. And then my final thought, I'll relax. The Red Sox deserve to lose this game. Don't get it wrong. Way too many missed opportunities, atrocious situational baseball, too many strikeouts. They put no pressure on Cincinnati for 12 innings, whatever it was. But every single controversial moment in this game should be centered around your opponent and the teams playing, that every single one of them was around the umpire. And when that happens, things get incredibly difficult to overcome. So there's my rant.
Awesome. Tonight's Martinello Minute is brought to you by CB Bucknor's Strike Zone Glasses. Can't see anything, but hey, confidence is sky high. Why let things like location, consistency, or basic eyesight get in the way of good old-fashioned guess? Comes with 3 preset modes: ball, strike, and surprise, I didn't even see that one. Perfect for anyone who wants to control a baseball game without the burden of accuracy. This is a typical Red Sox baseball game. Nick kind of talked about it a little bit earlier on his section, that it just had that feeling of when we get offense, we don't get the pitching, and then we get pitching, we don't get the offense, and we're going to lose this game by 1 run. It also felt fitting that Abreu ties it up, or someone ties it up with a home run, only to lose the game in extra innings. We've seen this happen. The story has been written over and over and over again, especially over the last few years, that, you just insert a different player and you have the same outcome. But this is all on Sonny Gray. That son of a bitch just absolutely blew today. And he's not going to get enough whipping. A lot of this is all on Bucknor, and rightfully so. But, he just stunk. I spent literally all offseason getting railroaded on Twitter with people that said, when I kept saying, I don't like this move because he's not good in a big market, and everybody said, yeah, but that was with the Yankees, but that was like 10 years ago, and they tried to mess with his delivery, and he's a different guy now. And I said, you know what? He's not a different guy now, okay? He's been with the A's. He's been with the Reds. He's been with St. Louis. He's been with teams that it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. And you're going to get into something that's going to be a little bit more. The fans here are a completely different animal. I don't care. It wasn't Fenway Park. I understand that. But this was really an egregious outing. And worse than that was the stupid bonehead move that he made trying to get the out at home. I for a minute, I thought he threw the fucking ball at the guy's back. I really did. And, it's just, this guy's been a Gold Glove runner-up as a pitcher. and you can't think on your feet fast enough that you have to throw the ball to the catcher, that run doesn't score. We win this game on the Abreu home run because then Chapman comes in and saves it. So this guy needs to get a lot more hate. I am not confident. I hate the fact that he actually was the guy that was, second in line to get the second start. We talked about this when he was first traded for. I mean, obviously they got Suarez, and this is, again, does this go back to the WBC and he wasn't ready? And if you were ready, maybe you have Suarez, pitching game 2, and now you didn't. This is another reason why I hate the WBC, especially for pitchers that go there. Nick, I'll start with you on Sonny Gray. Your thoughts on my rant?
That actually wasn't Sonny Gray pitching today.
Oh.
It was Walker Buehler.
Yeah, same thing.
Same thing. I'm just mad at myself because I went into this thinking that, okay, we're going to get somebody that's a little bit more of an upgrade than a Walker Buehler. This is what my brain was spewing to me. My brain said, okay, we traded with the Cardinals to get Sonny Gray, who has a pretty good track record. But the biggest question here is when he was a Yankee, he sucked. Mm-hmm. Well, translation, he's going to the Red Sox. Duh. Why am I thinking he's the number 2 starter? Why am I having confidence to begin with in the season before he's thrown a pitch? Shame on you, Nick. Shame on you. He fooled me, and I'm going to be honest with you. I thought he was going to actually put up a decent start. And the reasoning I gave was because he went to a familiar territory. He was with the Cincinnati Reds. He threw great for them. There was no issues there. So he shouldn't have been afraid on the mound. He should have been mentally in it. And he was mentally checked out. Wasn't ready. Not prepared. You get an F, Sonny. Sorry. I called him Snuffleupagus Gray in our group chat, going off the Sunny Days reference from Sesame Street. He was the friggin' Snuffleupagus today. Duh, slow motion, idiot.
Yeah. John, your reactions to my rant on Gray and your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it in spring training. He didn't have command. He was walking guys left and right. Only one walk today, but it was pretty evident that he didn't have it with really any of his pitches. Guys were hitting the ball hard everywhere. I'll go through average exit velocities right now. 101.8 on his on his sinker, 97 on his curveball, 108 on his sweeper, and then 83 on his cutter. He just didn't have it. He threw 64% of his pitches for strikes, and that was the 3rd and 4th inning. The 4th inning specifically, he was up there. So he started finding his control later in the start. But at that point, as I said earlier, he didn't, he threw 80 pitches in 4 innings. You got to come out of the game. And yeah, like we saw it in spring training, command's not there. The feel isn't there yet. So, I'm going to give him a little bit of a leash just because he's a veteran in this league. I'm not going to completely lose it. But yeah, I mean, everything you guys have said, you can't argue with right now after this first start.
I mean, I would have been happier to lose 5-0. The reality is when you have these games that are close and you really have an opportunity to win, and then you're in extra innings and you're blasting through your bullpen, whether it's this season or another one, I've said it a million times, you can't win a playoff or a championship in April, but you could lose it. And this is the type of game that you just hope when you're late September and you're, one game back to the Yankees or Toronto or something like that, and everybody's bitching and moaning, you look back at games like this and you say, this is one you should have won, but you didn't have the right starting rotation or you didn't have a good enough start. Maybe he shouldn't have been the number 2 guy. I don't know, but very disappointing, and just, more of the same with this team. Moving along next, Caleb Durbin, who was our big acquisition in the offseason in terms of offense, goes 0 for 5. And what is he, 0 for 10 now? I think, on the year. And, batting in the 6th spot today in the in the lineup. I know, again, I'm a guy that reacts too early, but John, I'll start with you. I think he needs to either be dropped down in that lineup a little bit more. He is not a guy right now that I see that should continue in that middle of the order.
Yeah, I mean, I said my piece on him. It's as bad of a first impression as you could possibly have. You played your rookie year in Milwaukee. He was drafted by the Yankees, traded to the Brewers. He's only seen Major League Baseball in a mid-market organization, and now you're in a big market, and it's unacceptable to go 0 for 8. Last year, you go 0 for 8 to start the year or whatever. It gets thrown under the covers. Nobody really cares. Nobody's paying attention to Milwaukee. But here in Boston, you have to show up, and you put that number 5 on your jersey. You have to absolutely show up, and he didn't, and he hasn't. And hopefully tomorrow he shuts us all up, has himself a productive day. But right now I'm going to shit on you because you've done nothing productive for this team through 2 games.
Nick, your reactions.
I just want to make a statement clear on the number 5. I don't know why it's been circulated as much as it has. I'm sorry. I know that was my childhood. Nomar was my star when I was a kid. If that number is going to be worn for somebody, you better be damn well good quality. You better be. I'm sick of it. Like, that number has gone around to Nick Puntos, to Ian Kinsler's, to now Caleb Durbin. Like, even Rocco Baldelli wore that number at some point. Like, enough is enough with number 5. That's Nomar's. Like, come on. Drives me absolutely crazy when that number, I just get infuriated by it. I do. I'm sorry. Like, I know people are not as big sometimes on the Nomar Jazz because he left the team after the championship was won in 04, but he meant a lot to me. He certainly did. He was the first real baseball star in my life as a kid. So I'm sorry. It's like ripping your heart out when you put some trash on the back of somebody's back for their jersey. So yeah, Caleb Durbin, get ready to sit the pine tomorrow, buddy, because that's what's happening. You'll see Kana Falafel House or Andrew Monasterio at third base tomorrow. That's what's happening. I'm going to tell you that right now. And if that doesn't happen, I'm coming for Cora. If that doesn't happen, that's really embarrassing. I don't want him to work through it. He needs to get his ass to get in gear, go to the cage. I'm punishing him right now. I am. I'm calling it out right now. You're punished. You're in the cage. You do not get dinner. You do not get breakfast. You're in the batting cage, and we'll feed you baseballs until you like it.
Yeah, I think Monasterio is a good opportunity tomorrow as well. I mean, start him fresh, start him early. Moving right along, Marcelo Mayer, who was the hero in game one of the heroes anyway, 1 for 5 showing today with 3 strikeouts. Trevor Story also had 4 strikeouts on the game, which is typical for him. Nick, your thoughts on Mayer overreacting, or is this going to be a problem too?
I did not like his approach today whatsoever. I did not. The swing was way too long. I didn't like the adjustments that were made. I think that this is who he is until we figure out more of a foundation on what he is in a lineup, meaning he's going to have a long swing. He's got to figure out an adjustment and approach against major league pitching. I think there's flashes, but I think right now you'll see streakiness to him. And that drives me crazy because I don't want any more streakiness. I don't need any more streaking in my life, including my next door neighbors. Sorry.
Probably isn't something anybody really wants. John, your thoughts on Marcelo Mayer?
Yeah, I mean, Nick said it great. He's going to be streaky. This is a guy that hasn't played over 110 games at all in his career throughout the entire minor leagues due to all the injuries he's had. So that's a lot of development that he has missed making his way to the major leagues. And, he's going to, Nick said it. He's going to be streaky. He's going to go through hot stretches. He's going to go through cold stretches. The credit I will give him on the 3 strikeouts today, at least he made him competitive at bats. He got to 5+ pitches every single time. So I'll throw you a little bit of a bone there. But, even the double that he hit, honestly, probably should have been caught. forget who was playing center field for the Reds, but completely misplayed a line drive, and
CB
you'll
Buckweed
take
was.
it. Yeah. So it wasn't a good day for him, but on it, like, he made it up in the field a little bit. Made a nice backhands play to get I think it was Sonny Gray out of an inning, and then he made a really nice play while Ellie De La Cruz was stealing second base to get Ryan Watson out of an inning. So he did well in the field, but we're gonna have to deal with a streaky bat for probably a decent amount of time.
Yeah, that play to his right in going across body was a remarkable and beautiful execution. We've said it before all offseason on our show. You cannot deny the defense. I mean, he's elite defensively and probably could be Gold Glove caliber, if not already Gold Glove caliber. So that's irrelevant.
He should be the shortstop, guys. He really should be. And I want to make sure that point. He should be playing short.
Yeah, that may be the bigger issue because, you may be able to handle his inconsistency with his bat a little bit more if he is your shortstop because he's going to have more range. Story already today looked a little bit defunct, on some of those plays. And I don't know. I've never been a Trevor Story guy. Never even before he was here. I always thought he was a product of Colorado. He had a good year last year. There's no denying he had a good year, but I don't think anybody else really believes that he's going to, have a year like that. Because, I mean, let's face it, if Trevor Story thought he could get a better deal somewhere else, why didn't he opt out, So that's on that. Carlos Narvaez, 2 for 3 today. What did you guys think about the fact that he was pinch hit for in the later innings? The guy's hot. You're down a run at the time. It just kind of feels like Yoshida was more of just, pinch hitting him was just more of like a operating
publicity stunt.
Yeah, versus actually a position of need there. John, I'll start with you.
I mean, you take it how it is. Yoshida did his job, so can't get mad at Corey for that decision. But you're completely right. Narvaez has had a nice start to the year. He looks really good. He has an approach when he's at the plate. He's not trying to do too much. I think every single one of his hits so far has just been a little line drive over the second baseman's head, dumping him all into right field. He's been great. His bat's been hot. He's obviously far more advanced than what his service time says. But I can't get too mad. As I just said, Yoshida did his job. And then, Connor Wong, honestly, besides striking out, because that's what he does, he did a good job behind the plate. The Ellie De La Cruz at bat, where Slayton struck him out, 2 sweepers, got 2 swings and misses, and then froze him with the fastball. So Wong did a good job calling pitches. So I'm not going to get too upset with Core's decision making there.
Nick, your thoughts on Narvaez being pinch hit?
The only reason was to get Yoshida in at bat. It's the only reason that came from. It was just the wrong guy. Should have been Caleb Durbin. That's who should have been pinched hit for in a situation. I think if you look through 1 through 9, you have to find your spots. It wasn't the right spot for it. It wasn't. And that's the decision that Cora made. Everything that Cora did on Thursday was great. And then everything today, you question.
Mm-hmm.
I can't stand it when you have to go into an extra. You just have Connor Wong behind the dish. I'm so done. I know he can defend okay and frame pitches okay. It's just a matter of that bat. That bat is just atrocious. How did we go a season with Connor Wong actually doing something with the bat? What was that, 2024? Yeah.
Yeah.
When we said, oh, yeah, Christian Vasquez, you're done. Connor Wong, you're the guy. And then we all know what happened last season. Wong gets hurt. Narvaez steps in. Narvaez delivers. So I don't want to say like, and I hope that we don't have to say this, but they are in big trouble if Connor Wong can't give them something for this team. They're in huge trouble because I don't want to go through another season where Narvaez gets broken down and can't even play. What a sad fate that will be for this team. So they need production from Wong. They got to figure it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Greg Weissert today, shit the bed.
Buddy.
Can't stand that guy. 1 inning, 2 hits, the home run, obviously, got 2 strikeouts, but, just not a reliable guy. He's too streaky. Be interesting to see what happens moving forward with him and what kind of leash Cora gives with him. Kind of want to just quickly finish off with tomorrow's probables. So we have Connolly early going for the Red Sox against Lauder. Nick, I'll start with you. What are your projections for tomorrow? Obviously, we know Yoshida may be playing and maybe even Monasterio. What do you expect for tomorrow?
The last thing I want to mention on the Weissert is Weissert reminds me of a human pitching machine. Doot. Just throw it in, boing. That's what he is. He's a human pitching machine.
Struck out Judge in the WBC.
Exactly, as a pitching machine. On to Conley early, my boy. Thank you. At least somebody in the audience applauds. Thank you. It's about time. Now, the real story, Conley early. I'm looking forward to this start. I think we'll see a true great start from him. I think he is poised beyond years. I really do. And I think that's one of the reasons why the Red Sox are riding him and kept him on the roster to begin their season. John and I, we both said on our previous show, I believe, that we feel like Conley early is here to stay. And I would love that to be true. I want this kid to be your legit number 2 guy. But I'm just saying that. Obviously, it's a results business. We need to see the result. We need to see command. We need to see how he battles himself through in this game 3. It's a big start for him. It's about being under 500 or over 500 tomorrow. Going home 2 of 3 is a lot better than just 1 of 2 on a trip to Houston. So I'm looking for at least 6 quality, 2 runs or less, and I think the Red Sox have a good opportunity. Notice how I didn't say great. And the reason I'm saying that is because I still question every day what we're going to get out of this lineup. I'm sorry, I am. I am not confident. I have very, very, very little faith in anybody right now besides a Roman Anthony. And I'll even put William Abreu. I was very pleased with how he did today. Outside of that, guys, I'm not 100% convinced yet that Wilson Contreras is the guy, specifically hitting in the 4 hole. We should make sure we mention that. I know he's gotten on base and has been hit by pitches and walked, which is good, but I need something for Thump. And then, of course, you have Duran as your number 3 guy. I hate that. But again, I don't want to beat a dead horse here. This is your roster. This is how it's configured. You have no true leadoff 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, I guess you have a bunch of 9s. Maybe 8 9s. That'll be nice. But that's what you got. And you're trying to figure out how to piece it all together. It's not pretty. But the biggest thing I want to make sure we know in this lineup, Trevor Story hitting 2? No way. No effing way. If you think you're going to have a winning season with that, nope. Count me out if that's what we're going to be diving into, because that is a disaster and a recipe for failure right there. Because I'm not doing this 1 for 5, 4 strikeouts a game with him as my number 2 guy. Get your ass on base.
John, what are you looking for tomorrow?
I'm looking for the Red Sox to get to the created player, Rhett Lauder. The Reds and Terry Francona have used up everybody in their bullpen. They used 6 guys today. If you're able to get to this bullpen nice and early tomorrow, you're going to see a bunch of slop. You're going to see guys that typically won't get in the game. The Reds have used every single guy in their bullpen in the first 2 games of this series, so you got to get to the bullpen early. Connerly early. Nick and I have said it 1,000 times. Okay, beating the dead horse. He's a winner. He's going to pitch well. Give me 6 innings, and then give me the Slayton, Whitlock, Chapman, finish it off. Hopefully we don't even have to use Chapman, but He only threw 6 pitches today. He should be fresh. But yeah, the lineup, please show up tomorrow. Don't need to see another 15 strikeout game. Positive note for tomorrow, CB Bucknor will not be behind the dish. So
Jail.
excited to see that. And I cannot wait for that umpire scorecard again to come out because it's going to just put a smile on my face.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident in tomorrow. A matchup predictor shows the Red Sox have a 62.4% chance of winning tomorrow's game. So that is looking good. Hopefully Connie Early has a really good game. I think he will. He doesn't seem like a kid that gets rattled in a lot of these things. So I'm really happy with I think we'll be very pleased tomorrow, and we'll take 2 out of 3, which is obviously something we need to do. Couple let's see here. Couple different comments. Jules says face rip 'em, which Nick always does. And then I also said Roman wasted his challenge. Listen, I mean, he's gonna have the green light, I think, more so than you think on a lot of these opportunities. The one thing that I think needs to be really said here, and John and I were talking about before we started the show, is that it's really early in this whole ABS convoluted challenge mechanism and so forth. I think what's got to happen is that the teams are going to have to regroup, and as more data comes in, especially on some of the umpires and things like that. CB Bucknor is a perfect example of this, but there'll be scouts, there'll be people providing the analytics to the management, to the team, to the players that will get them to know when it's appropriate to do, a challenge and when not, based on who that umpire might be, what their tendencies are. And, I think also too, it's important to make sure that these guys kind of hold a challenge for later in the game. Don't burn these 2 challenges too early, especially if it's early in the count. You just never know when that, tying run is on base and, you're looking for a strikeout and it's ball 4 or a potential bases loaded situation. And it's a 3-2 pitch that could go either way. And you need that challenge. So I think they're going to tighten up that ship a little bit more on, the different players that get kind of like, the green light to, challenge and what pitchers are going to get a green light and how they can, manufacture or save, one of those challenges for later in the game, because today was a perfect example. Mayer got caught on a bunch of different calls that were out of the strike zone. Stories, the Story strikeout with the check swing and so forth. So there was a lot of lost opportunities that ABS would have helped them, and it just never happened.
Question. Because CB Bucknor made the call and didn't go to the first base umpire to ask if he checked his swing or not, can ABS look at that still? Because the umpire, I don't think they can.
No,
I don't believe so. No.
I'll tell you what's coming next, though. We're gonna have the all the cameras set up to have replay on check swings. And that's not,
sure.
It's been discussed. That's gonna come next.
It's coming. Yep.
There's another point I want to bring up quickly, if you guys don't mind, from the game that I think we should discuss, and I'm wondering if you have a concern on it, if that's good with you guys.
Yeah, go ahead.
So 11th inning, we all know it was the extra innings where the guy's on second, your mystery guy. One of my concerns heading into this season stems from our outfield. And in particular, I am going to talk about Roman Anthony here for a second. Gentlemen, did you see Johnny Damon in left field on that final throw home?
Mm-hmm.
That was atrocious. That's his arm. I don't know what the heck happened, but if we're not talking about that right now, or talking about what we witnessed from that, and at least having a discussion, we're doing ourselves a disservice. I don't know if we've seen enough to see Roman Anthony have an arm that we're confident with when the going gets tough in the nitty gritty in these 1-run games, 8th, 9th inning on the line, and a guy hits a gap shot where you got to get that player out at home. That really opened my eyes here in my evaluation to see, okay, what is his arm strength like? That was noodle arm Johnny Damon in left field right there. That was horrible.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Last year, from his limited data on Baseball Savant, he has an average arm velo of 84.6, which is 59 or 52nd percentile in the league. I mean, as far as I'm concerned on that play, there's no way anybody, maybe Prime Ichiro is the only person who's going to throw out whoever the TJ Friedel at home plate. So, I mean, obviously it's going to hit headlines. You saw the ball rolling in from the infield dirt.
Bounced. Mm-hmm. He
So,
had a better chance at kicking the ball home.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
seen
not gonna cry about it.
We've seen Rafaela have some bad throws too. So
Yeah, we've seen Willie Abreu.
Willier's
he
arm
throws
is
the ball
great.
150 miles an hour, but we've seen a couple
We
Willie
know
Abreu
that
throwing it
strength.
into the third grandstand.
I guess we have 3 players to compare here. It would be Roman Anthony, Jarren Duran, and Noodle Boy Yoshida. Obviously, that's out the table. We all know about that. So you don't have to even put that into consideration.
We might
Maybe
see him
in the
in the
next
field
couple
in
games
Houston.
you will. Yeah, maybe a couple games you will, which is really, really makes me happy. But I guess you got to look at Duran versus Roman Anthony. And I'll tell you right now, I still feel like I have much more faith in Roman Anthony as my left field than I do Duran. I did not like last season with Jarren Duran in left field. I'm sorry, I didn't. And I still feel Jarren Duran's best position on a baseball diamond is center field. But I'm not taking him. I'm not taking Rafaela out of center field. I'm just not doing that.
No,
so
do that.
Duran is my
story
DH.
goes down. Rafaela might be at shortstop.
Yeah, that. Well, here's the other.
No, you'd have to put Meyer at short and Rafaela.
Well, that would be the sensible thing to do.
Yeah, that's what you would do. But don't get super comfortable just with Rafaela in center field. Don't. I'm telling you that. I'm not saying I like it. I don't want it. But Cora is going to play him at second base, maybe against lefties.
You'll see it this year.
It's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You will. You'll see it this season. All right. Just before we wrap up, I just want to mention I put a tweet out there today about our we're having a little bit of a sweepstakes. We're calling it the Star of the Game. And how this works is that before every game that we are live for, go ahead in the comments of that tweet, put it who you believe the star of the game will be for that game. And every time you're right, you get a point, and whoever has the most points at the end of the year, we're going to give you a $100 gift card to the MLB shop for Red Sox gear. So the only criteria is you have to follow RedSoxDigest.com, both on Twitter, all of us, as well as subscribe to our website. And then we'll have that drawing first week of October. So pretty cool little thing here. All you got to do is just, comment who you think is going to be that player of the game for that game. So for today, the player of the game is actually going to be
Got to be Willie, right?
Shouldn't that be asshole of the game?
No. Player of the game is Dane Myers, who won the game with the single and line drive to left and wound up scoring the winning run for Cincinnati. So if you had Dane Myers, we'll check your tweets and you'll get a point for today. And we'll have another one tomorrow. So that's going to wrap it up for today. I want to thank Nick and John for being on with us. Please go to RedSoxDigest.com and subscribe. And we will be on tomorrow at 9 p.m. The game starts at, is it 1:40 tomorrow?
I'll double check. That sounds right, though.
Yeah, 1:40 tomorrow.
1:40.
And I guess it's on ESPN, one of the ESPN channels. So I'm not sure if Nesson is carrying it. But just check your local guides or a friend that might know better or someone with a cheater box. That's going to wrap it up for tonight. I would like to thank everybody for their comments today, and all our listeners and followers. Have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow.